Do you feel safe going to major sporting events? Because you look at, the Rose Bowl coming up with the Utes. How many Ute fans, are making the pilgrimage to Pasadena
Yeah.
to go to the Rose Bowl? Like, how safe do you feel going to a major sporting event right
I
now?
mean, it's kind of a double-edged thing because I feel like, logic and what we know about how, COVID passes from one person to another, we know that if we're outside, that technically it's a safer environment. But then, if you're going to the Rose Bowl, nobody's going to be wearing a mask at the Rose Bowl, when they get to their seat and everything. So to me, that's a really dangerous situation, even though you're outside. Then I look at an NBA game and I say, hey, like, if I'm going to an NBA game or even an NHL game, let's say, I am gonna be wearing like the best mask that I have, and that would pretty much take care of it. I mean, we happen to have N95 masks, and those are much beefier than just your standard Costco mask. So like I would just wear my N95, and I think you're fine. But I will say that I think that if you're not vaccinated at this point, I don't know, and I don't want to get into the politics of it or anything, but just from a safety standpoint, talking about like, hey, how can I mitigate my risk and how can I like go the best way I can in the day to day? I think, if you can have the vaccine, a booster, and a mask, I think you're in a good place, but it's when you don't wear a mask or you're unvac, like it just, there's a lot of different scenarios in which you could be put in danger. And so, that's why I say, like, for me, I'm vaccinated. I would wear a mask, and yeah, I would go to a sporting event. But you can be damn sure that I would not be taking that thing off. I can tell you that.
Yeah, and I think when we were going to Jazz games last year, we essentially bought a season ticket pack at the end of the year, and we were going to a lot of games, and it was nice because it was spaced out.
Yeah.
Those protocols are all gone now.
Right.
And like I'm watching the Steph Curry game, and I'm probably a bit more sensitive to COVID than most people. Like I take it very seriously. I wear my mask everywhere I go.
Right.
And I know most people, especially here in Utah, do not. But watching the Steph Curry game last night and watching him break that record at the Garden, I was thinking to myself, man, none of these people are wearing masks,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you just don't feel 100% confident, and you see the just enormity of cases across professional sports.
Yeah.
I mean, we just passed 800,000 deaths in this country, and I think it's something that we likely don't take seriously enough. I mean, I think we all felt like over the summer and fall that we had really overcome the worst part of COVID.
Well, I think we had, and then this variants happen and things happen, and so then what I always look for is all right, is the big time air quotes, is the outbreak, is it just happening in one league or is it happening in several leagues? Like, what are we looking at? So like right now, for example, it's not good because not only is it in the NFL, it's in the NBA. And I don't even want to know what Major League Baseball would be dealing with if they were playing games right now, which obviously they're not because it's their off season. So to me, when I see, cases upon cases and all these guys going into the protocol and across multiple leagues, I'm like, dude, like this thing's going around, and again, no matter what your political stance or like wherever you are on that whole thing, that's not really the conversation we're having. I'm just simply saying that in order for me to make an appearance at a professional sporting event right now, the mask has to be there. It just is that simple. There are other places where I don't feel it's necessary to wear a mask, like there are other certain situations, but for the most part right now with this variant, I would be wearing one. So, if the question is, would you go to a sporting event right now? Well, yeah, I would. But I would be, very mindful and very tactful, if you will, about wearing my mask
Tactician.
and putting myself in good positions.
Yeah, I think you have to be very intentional about wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is we've traveled recently quite a bit. Living in Utah, and depending on where you live, whether like I know, I think I saw James Knight, was on the show this morning. I think when you live in a place like Australia where you've had such incredible COVID lockdowns, we just came back from Hawaii where you have to show your vaccination card just to get into a restaurant, and you have to wear a mask, and everybody wears masks
Yes.
in Hawaii. And then you come back to a place like Salt Lake City in Utah, and nobody wears masks here. Nobody cares about your vaccination status. Everybody's playing basketball. I was in the gym for lunch yesterday, unlike you.
Yeah, well, you got
where
things to do.
I worked out alone.
Yeah.
By myself.
Because
and
I was
stuff.
just sitting around doing nothing.
Chubs. Anyway, the point is,
let's go, Schlep Rock.
yeah, let's go, Schlep Rock. The point is, you know, at the gym yesterday, there were a bunch of, you know, young 20, late teens, you know, like joking around, lifting weights, like, and what was striking is one of the kids kept coughing, and I was just thinking to myself, man, none of them are wearing masks.
Nope.
None of them.
Nope.
And it's uncomfortable because nobody in Utah takes it as seriously as I take it. I don't feel like.
No, and well, I just think, and it's not, again, this isn't any disrespect to our Utahns who listen to the show, but I just don't think the state overall takes it seriously.
I would
think
agree, yeah.
Again, the point you were just making, like whether it's Hawaii or even in California, again, if you were listening to the show before the Maui trip, you know, my flight plans took me to California for one day. And even there, I mean, you got to wear a mask. Like, I mean, it's very serious in California. So, like, it's just, I think you just have to understand the whole concept of, hey, you live in a state where nobody wears a mask, which inherently means that COVID's going to go around much quicker, and it's just something we deal with. And so my point just is going to a Jazz game, going to a Bees game, going to a Grizzlies game. Wear your mask. You know, if you want to be protected fully and have peace of mind, I think you have to be wearing a mask right now.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. If you're a major sport, if you're the NFL, if you are the NBA, look at the Rams. Rams and Cardinals play a huge game on Monday night. I mean, it was one of the biggest games of the year, certainly the biggest game of the weekend. The Rams stunned the Cardinals at home. And then that game's on Monday night. Tuesday morning, the Rams put 7 guys in COVID protocol, including Odell Beckham Jr., who had a dominant performance. If you're the NFLer, I mean, you can't – I have to believe, it's my opinion, that they had to have known there were COVID issues in that game.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's one of those situations when the NFL was like, well, we're not going to cancel a Monday Night Football game, not between the Rams and the Cardinals. We'll play the game and deal with the consequences afterward.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people handle COVID that way. And again, it's not my position to say whether that's right or wrong for individual people. Do I think it's wrong for the NFL to be doing that? Absolutely. I think you're putting I mean, not even exaggerating, you're putting hundreds of people's lives at risk, legitimately, because we don't know. The simple truth is we don't know how COVID will affect Jimmy the ball boy versus how it will affect, the head coach, Sean McVay. We don't know.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And so it's like, okay, well, if you had some sense that you were going to get a bunch of cases coming out of this game, it would be disappointing, if that were to ever come out that they knew that. So that's why I say, like, I'm just of the mind that I don't want to deal with. I had COVID once way back in the day.
A year ago.
I jokingly say about a year ago. It wasn't that bad for me. Luckily it was just a head cold, but at the same time,
Do you feel like it's over? Do you feel like that's totally over for you?
I'm past it now. It took me probably, I don't know, couple months at least.
You had the rando coughing outbreak, like
yeah,
you had.
I had the coughing thing, and it wasn't just. It got to a point where when I was waking up every day, I had to cough for like 10 minutes just to kind of like work through it. And then after, I mean, I'm not going to say it was 6 months, but I think probably a solid 3 months, I probably dealt with that. It just stopped happening, and now I don't have it. And I got, then, so I get COVID. I deal with it, shortly after that, I get the J&J vaccine.
Yep.
Then I got both Pfizer shots, and then obviously I have to wait to be eligible to get a booster. So that's why I say, like, there's more and more as time goes on. I think the big thing, and this is what I've been seeing recently, is that they're saying all these vaccines are just strengthening your immune system overall. So that's why for me, I'm just like, hey, like, I just put all the political garbage to the side, and I just say, hey, like, I just don't want to deal with it.
Well, and I think the hard part for me is I love going to NBA games. Specifically, I mean, my 2 live events are Major League Baseball and the NBA. I think it's very difficult to beat a jacked-up college football experience. I mean, I think we saw that Utah-Oregon was an incredible house. But on the regular, NBA and Major League Baseball is where I prefer to be at. I just bought Chicago Cubs spring training season tickets. Like, I'm a passionate fan. I can't see myself going to a game right now today. Like I almost, not to be, because Santa Claus is real. Santa Claus almost bought you Jazz Brooklyn Nets tickets. He
Wow.
asked me, hey, would Fuckstick like some Brooklyn Nets
Okay,
tickets?
bro.
And but I said, I don't know who you're referring to, but my
Yeah, I've been immunized.
my dearly beloved immunized child would love some Nets tickets. But I didn't get them for you because I feel like that's a
It's
real
sketch.
risk.
I mean, there's no question. I mean, you can't get away from the fact that it's sketch. There's no getting around that. I mean, if you want to say, and I love all of you guys equally, but if you want to be the person that says, hey, like, I don't care if I get COVID, it's not going to kill me. Well, I just have a different philosophy about it.
Yeah.
I think there's no way to get around the fact that it's really risky to go to a sporting event right now. Now, I think, again, like I was just saying, if you wear a mask, I think it's fine. I think your risk is much lower. I think it's fine.
But think about it in a business sense.
Yeah.
What do you do if you're the NBA? There's no way around it. You have a massive outbreak in the NBA of COVID.
Yeah,
I mean,
no doubt about it.
Every team, essentially, the Jazz, by the way, have largely avoided it.
Yeah.
But you have a massive in the NBA. What do you do with that?
I don't think you do anything. I think what the leagues are, the position they're being put in is just, hey, we're gonna put structure in place to do our best to avoid it. But if it happens, we're just gonna have to deal with it.
And they've canceled 2 Bulls games now because, as we've talked about on the show, the Bulls have been decimated.
Yeah.
I think they have over 20 people, including staff and players, in COVID protocol right now. I'm broadcasters, players, a trainer. I know their ticket sales staff. It's incredible across all these sports how many people are getting it. So this NFL thing, the NHL has had an issue with it.
Yes.
But I think you have to keep going.
Yes.
And I think what we've learned as a society through this whole COVID thing over the last several years is locking down is not the answer.
Crippling the economy is not the answer.
Masks are critically important, I think. I think controlling the way that it is spread. That's why, like this week, when there was a movement to get the mask mandate for air travel knocked out, so that people didn't have to wear a mask on a plane. And thankfully, it was not successful because having flown a lot lately, I can tell you I wouldn't be flying if there wasn't a mask mandate.
But here's my thing though. Even if there wasn't a mask mandate, you can still wear your mask, so it's fine. And this is my point. I think we're at its point now with COVID and this whole situation that we seemingly are, I hesitate to say COVID's going to be here forever, but, for the next several years, I would guess it's going to be here at least. Like, we're at a point where I just don't think the mandates even matter. I think it's a personal, just like anything else. I think it's an individual to individual decision.
Unless you're going into a group environment. To me, that's where the personal decision thing goes away. Because I agree, if you as an individual don't want to wear a mask, don't wear a mask.
But what I'm saying is that if you wear a mask, everything else goes away. You're not getting the coronavirus.
Oh, my bad.
If you
I misunderstood
wear it.
what you said. I'm
like
sorry.
If you're even if with flying, even if the mandate were to have been removed and that whole thing would have been successful, it still, to me, doesn't change the fact that, hey, if I want to go and do something, I need to wear a mask. That's just where we're at now.
Yeah, and I think, I don't really worry about myself. I'm not, I don't think I'm a high-risk case for COVID, frankly, because I'm a shut-in. I really, if we're being honest, I do go to the gym every day.
I'm a fucking unit.
I am a unit. I work out every day. Hey, man, it's all good. I wear my mask in the gym. Yesterday I thought about switching to an N95 because it's been so prevalent lately.
Mm-hmm.
But, I wear my mask in the gym every day. I avoid people. I'm not that concerned about it. I worry about my wife who's got asthma.
Yeah.
We work very hard to build a life that is really rewarding. And we've put ourselves in this unbelievable position. To see all of that go down the drain to COVID would just be, I don't know that I could deal with that.
Yeah.
I would just be really difficult. So that's why I do it. I'm not terrified of it.
The coronavirus.
Shane is saying if you live your life terrified, you'll be terrified. Go out and live your life. And it's like, I don't know that
we're
you can.
We're not terrified.
Yeah.
This is the other thing that I think we need to talk about. When we talk COVID, and when I say we, I don't mean just our show, but the general conversation, when it comes up, I feel like there's always two sides of the conversation. There's always the person like us who's going to say, hey, we want to wear a mask and, we want to have the best protection we could possibly have. And then there's the other person who's going to say, and again, with all due respect to Shane, not trying to light you up or anything, but I think there's always the person that's going to say, well, if you're going to live scared, then you're always going to be scared. And it's like, no, dude, we're not living scared. And this is the concept that I think people don't understand. There's a difference between living scared and being like having the understanding that, okay, just like anything else in the world, like the flu, smallpox, measles, I don't know, like any other major thing, we have shots and vaccines for all of those things. The problem is because this has been so politicized, we can't say across the board everyone's gotten that shot. So I'm going to wear a mask to protect myself. That doesn't mean I'm scared. Like I said, I've already had COVID. Do I think Omicron would mess me up? No, I don't. I really don't. I don't think it would. That said, I don't want to take my chance. I don't want to. I'm not looking to get it. So it's not being scared.
Oh, look, Derek Gray's back.
I don't know who Derek Gray is.
Wait, I quit listening in the walking booster shot. Is scared of COVID again. You sheep, I'm sorry, you're so scared all the time. Like, see, I think that's the issue with
and that's my point.
When you start lobbing insults and you're unwilling to understand that there's a lot of different viewpoints on COVID, and if you're scared of COVID, I'm okay with that. If you're not scared of COVID, I'm okay with that. If you don't want to wear a mask, I'm okay with that.
Let me put it this way. The opposite of what that guy just said, for me to say something equal to that would be, hey, if you wind up in the hospital because you didn't want to wear a mask because you were a tough guy, I'm not going to feel sorry for you. That's an incredibly disrespectful thing to say.
We all make choices.
Yeah.
And I think that we talk about freedoms every day in this country. I'm all good with that.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to tell you what to do, or I'm never going to insult anybody who made the decision not to get vaccinated, but you knew what you were risking. You absolutely knew what you were risking. So I just think in professional sports, it's a different set of circumstances. Mm-hmm. When you're talking about billions of dollars, the dollar's going to come before somebody's well-being, and I think that's something that's really unfortunate.
And I just don't know why it's always got to go to, oh, well, you're scared, or like, I don't understand why, like, a big part of me feels like a lot of people say that because it makes them feel better. And if that's why, that's fine, dude. Like, like, you can run out all that crap in the comments if you want to. It literally has no effect on me. I actually think it's kind of funny that you feel such a need to basically be disrespectful and like think you're calling people out when it's really not that at all.
Isn't this where we've gone though?
Yeah.
Like COVID specifically, I think is a great example of something we can't have open, honest discussions about without people insulting each other and getting angry.
Yeah.
And I've never understood that. Like, I think in this country, we have 800,000 people that are dead. Mm-hmm. And the sad truth is when you look at where most of the infections and where most of the deaths are happening, they're in counties in this country, counties and states where Donald Trump won the election. Mm-hmm. And it's really unfortunate that the politics and our inability to communicate and be honest with each other, that's why we are where we are.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you're dealing with things like this. But I have a real issue with the way the NFL handled this COVID thing with the Rams. I do not believe for a second that they didn't know that there were COVID issues on the Rams before they played this game. And having, I know how the Cardinals operate. That's a team that's had their own COVID issues, including Cliffy. Like, I mean, they've had significant COVID issues on that team.
Yeah.
They knew, and they played the game because the dollar's more important than the well-being of the player.
Always has been, always will be.
Player safety will never be paramount. And I think the real issue is that when you risk people's lives over money, I mean, it usually does not end well.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what you're going to see. Let me get more comments in here. I'm just going to tell you now, if you're going to be like anti-vax insult guy, I'm just not going to read your comment. John Jackson says, you guys are great. Hi, John. Good to see you.
Good to see you, John.
The Nine Guy says, howdy, fellas.
Hello.
Brylark says, working from home today, boys. It's dangerous out there. And we're going to talk about the snow in a minute because I actually love it. Yeah. I love it. I work at home every day, though.
Yeah.
So I'm probably not qualified to say I love it. Tanner Plummer says, morning, guys. Sorry for the meltdown yesterday. Oh, stop. It's fine.
I thought you redeemed yourself on Twitter, though. Did he not?
Yeah.
I thought that was that was funny.
I'm liking Jake's vibe today. Looks like he spent the night at Dad's place.
Yep. No, you know what I
didn't.
did? You know what I did? I spent the morning for like 20 minutes shoveling out a spot to park because of this damn snowstorm.
It was about 5 minutes.
Okay, 5:20. Who's counting? Like, come on.
Tanner says, yeah, I probably take this pandemic too seriously, but I live by saying better safe than sorry.
How many of you guys, just out of curiosity, how many of you guys got kids or like, a whole family that you live with? Because I think the kid dynamic with the whole thing is wild. Like, the idea that you have to, if you have a child and that child is going to school and you know that is a risk that's coming back to you, I don't know how you even begin to stomach that. I mean, are you just in a place where you're like, well, it is what it is. If they bring it home, I'm just going to deal with it. Because I sincerely don't know what other choice you have. That's my biggest thing. What else can you do? It's not an option not to send them, right? Like that. So
it's
what do you do?
Not at all. You send your kids to school.
Hope for the best, I guess.
I mean, it is what it is. Boyd Lake says, I went on Google Maps and saw the Independence Bowl site. What a dive. Yeah, the Independence Bowl is in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Where?
Shreveport.
Okay.
It's,
That's it, Skippy.
Yeah, get the hell out of here with that. Shreveport?
Modern facility and stuff is not what I would describe the Independence Bowl as.
Yeah.
It is a like not state of the art.
Butthole.
Yeah, butthole. Exactly. It's not state of the art. Boyd Lake, I agree with you. Totally. Giggity says, I thought Arizona. Whoa, hey, comment dump. Sorry. Giggity said, man, you guys are amazing today. Thank you. I thought Arizona was bad about wearing masks until I spent a few days in Utah. Seriously.
Isn't it? But see, and I think this is fascinating and something that doesn't get talked about a lot. For people who travel a lot, seeing the differences is crazy. Like,
Hawaii, everybody has a mask on.
It's on another level, dude.
Everywhere you go,
yeah,
you have a mask on. Fred's in Kihei, you got to show your vaccine card to get in. And you got to have a mask on. Simple as that. I mean, here in Utah, you don't. It's easy. Wait, Santa isn't real, Tanner says? No. Yeah. How old were you when you found out Santa wasn't real?
I feel like I was like 8.
I think I was very young.
Yeah.
My parents never even tried to hide it from me. So,
well, hey,
I think I was very young.
Again, two schools of thought, right?
Yeah.
No,
I'm going to stop right there. Ty Kobe. Hey, Kobe.
Ron Kuby
says, Utah lost to San Diego State. Ranked San Diego State got handled by Utah State. BYU beat Utah and killed Utah State. Not mad about not getting a New Year's Six. Disappointed that Utah is ranked higher.
Okay, with all due respect, we've had this discussion.
Yeah, they're Pac-12 champions. They're going to the Rose Bowl.
There's no question.
Yeah, they're going to the Rose Bowl. Brylark says, I thought Utah didn't care about masks until I went to Tennessee a few weeks ago. I don't think they ever started putting them on in Tennessee. I would agree.
Dude.
Steve Peterson. So if Santa isn't real, who's going to buy my kids those presents? Well, Jake, I thought, Steve, you sent the list to Jake.
Hey.
Jake's rich. He can buy them for you.
Yeah, seriously.
Dario George, good afternoon, guys. COVID sucks. What else is there to say? Any predictions on the Jazz Clippers game tonight?
Virus.
Yeah, what's Paul George's deal? Is he playing like...
Who the hell knows, dude? Who the hell knows?
Why do you hate Paul George?
I don't hate... You know what I want from Paul George? I want him to beat
God.
teams like Dame and the Blazers. That's what I want.
How about Chris Paul last night beating Dame and the Blazers?
Yeah, dude. Chris Paul, one of the most dominant mid-range players ever.
Yeah. Paul George is questionable. As is Nick Batum. Hasn't played a game since December 6th against the Blazers. We knew that. I think Paul George is not going to play. Boy, it doesn't look like he's going to play tonight. Upgraded to questionable.
I mean, listen, at the end of the day, the Jazz, it's the same old conversation.
Serge Ibaka out. He has a close COVID contact yesterday.
My guess is the Jazz will come out, they'll shoot the lights out because they're rested, and this will be probably a 10 to 15 point victory. That's what I think. I think they're rested and they're ready.
Yeah, I mean the Clippers. I mean they've won 4 in a row without Paul George. So
Yeah, but the Reggie Jackson game winner stuff can only take you so far. Like
that guy's a stud.
he is.
I would love to have seen him on the Jazz, Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, Reggie.
Without a doubt. Carbon Beach says, "How long do you think it will take Las Vegas to get an MLB or NBA team?" Not long. I think the NBA is on hold. I think Major League Baseball, Tampa's got to get figured out. But the other issue is Vegas doesn't have a baseball facility.
Right.
And the land to build, like Allegiant Stadium with the Raiders, was really the last big piece of land there.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do it in like Henderson or something.
It would have.
Yeah.
I think it would have to be Henderson, or it's not an easy place.
You'd have to go north, I think. Probably.
And by the way, with the water restrictions that are going on there right now, the drought conditions in the Southwest.
Yeah, good luck.
It's going to be very difficult to get that done.
Yeah, it would have to be. You would not be putting natural grass into a facility there at all.
I mean, I don't think the NBA. Do you think the NBA will expand? I mean,
at some point, but not soon. I mean, I don't think that there's.
But why would they?
Because
obviously, money.
Yeah, money. But I think
that doesn't make a lot of sense to me right now.
It just doesn't feel like the right time. In sports, there's always you can feel the momentum kind of build, and and the Kraken thing in Seattle had kind of been building for several years, and and so it just happens. It takes time.
The Kraken has worked out pretty well.
Yeah,
that's a good
well.
name, great uniform.
Yeah, yeah. The Golden Knights have worked out great. Yeah,
I think Vegas has done really well with pro sports.
I think the tough thing with Vegas is because it's such a tourist town, because it's really just hey, I'm here for a couple days and then
a lot
I'm
of
out.
transients.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough thing. You have to kind of figure out, okay, well, what's realistic? Like, if you're an NBA team, and I mean, what do you have? What, like 40-ish nights a year where you're going to play there?
Yeah.
I think, okay. I mean, I guess it would be cool to have Christmas Day in Vegas, I guess, but I feel like the Christmas Day tradition in the Christmas Day tradition in the NBA is New York and LA. That's where we typically see all the games. Oh God.
No, I'm not going to do it. Anyway. NBA would be great in Vegas.
Yeah.
It would be great in Vegas. By the way, I don't know why, because of Vegas, but so I was working out last night so I worked out twice yesterday just because I was bored. So we're going to talk about the hot tub in a minute, but my wife was a little delayed at work last night. So before we got in the new hot tub, so I was bored after work, and I'd worked out at lunch, and I'd done chest and triceps at lunch. So I have an awesome Bowflex. I have everything I need to work out at home.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing my back work last night, and I was listening to Lil Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on Apple Music and you're a rap fan and you don't listen to the Lil Wayne Essential podcast or playlist on Apple Music, I mean, it's unbelievable.
Facts.
Like, I hadn't heard the song She Will.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so long.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing.
Oh,
dude.
my God.
His work is, I mean, again, you want to talk about a controversial topic as a kid. Lil Wayne was in his prime when I was a kid, and my mother...
My wife is Mrs. Monty. Mrs. Monty is not a big fan of rap music, and so generally I don't listen to things like Lil Wayne or Drake around Mrs. Monty. But she was on like a video conference call thing.
A VC.
And I just put my AirPods in.
My AirPod Pros with my iPhone 13 Pro Max.
I'm hung. Anyway, the point is,
I'm hung.
Yeah, I'm a unit. What do you want?
I'm a fucking unit.
I am. I'm a unit. Anyway, the point is, but it was nice. I had a little bounce going on. Had my workout going on. Like,
yeah,
Lil Wayne's underrated.